This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing. But it's a thing that wants you tuned into every Saturday. We're here. I'm Elsa McGee, your host. Well, you see I'm by myself today. My co-hard and co-host, Tony, is out of town this weekend, but we just got some things we need to discuss. Anyway, we don't have a guest, but let's talk about some stuff that everybody's talking about right now. And veterans, we really need to talk about this more probably than most citizens, because of the sacrifice that we made for this democracy. Every day that we were in the military, we pledged allegiance to the flag. We took an oath that we would defend this democracy against all enemies, domestic or foreign. We've fallen short. You know, Malcolm said something that just keep visiting my mind today. Probably more than before because of the debate Thursday night. The debate was to me, it wasn't not anything. The president, with a stutter problem, gasped a little. Like, that's not something new. But what was new to me was the reaction of the Democrats. O ye of little faith. I'm gonna put it like that. O ye of little faith. You ain't gonna win if you can't put faith in it. Let me say that. You know, you cannot be confronted with the devil and you flee. You flee from his unrighteousness. When you got righteousness on your side, you got a problem. You got a problem, and that's the problem right now today. Not that Joe Biden looked weak, or that Trump lied all through the thing, but the reaction of the media and some Democrats. Oh, we need to get somebody else. Come on, be realistic. Stop talking this divide and conquer stuff that we done embraced in this country now. You know, this is the land of the free and the brave. I don't know why we crumbling under the privilege showing their face. And that's what's going on now. You know, we got the coats all mixed up. This man don't believe in nothing that don't go his way. Period. If it's not his way, it don't. And those that's following him, going down with him. Believe that. They're going to go down with him. And he's going down because, you know, he doing some blaspheming. You know, he's like David and Goliath right now. That's what we're confronted with. This is our Goliath. How are we going to handle it? Are we going to act like most of the soldiers that was in the camp when David showed up? Or are we going to stand up for this democracy? Me, myself, I done gave too much. I done seen too many young men fall, die, killed in war. My generation, Vietnam veterans, 58,000 died in Vietnam from the war. More than that have died since Vietnam because of the exposure to toxics that they suffered during their service in Vietnam. And we gonna let somebody that don't agree with the democracy because it's checking him. And he's been privileged all of his life, so he's privileged now, and he's calling on those that have been privileged or those that want to be privileged with him to tear down this democracy. The courts are all against him. The prosecutors are all against him. You know, come on, folks. Wake up. We really need to wake up. We need to wake up and think about what we are doing right now. This country has went through enough with COVID. COVID took out 1 million Americans that probably shouldn't have been taken out that way. But God don't make no mistakes. But let me tell you something. He is not silent on this issue and never blind. He sees all, knows all. And what is happening now? Donald Trump is that evil one. And he's working up evil in this country like never before. Nobody has seen this level of hypocrisy from Americans that call themselves Republicans. I'm talking about black and white. They're hypocrites. And we know it because you don't lie about everything. You know, the word says a liar is a child of the devil. Now, we got this whole evangelist crew that's following him because they want to, they want to knock out abortions. Believe me, I'm against abortions too. I join them with that, but it's not the role of the government to do that. You know, God gave her choice, just like he gave man choice. He gave us the choice to even reject him. But that's between the woman and the Almighty. Government should not be playing the Almighty, because once they start doing it, they're going to reinstitute slavery. Already got it going. Look at the penitentiary system in this country. You got all these people locked up, and this man running around talking about how the justice system is unfair. It's unfair to him, but it's okay about them being locked up. If they cry out, the Supreme Court don't hear that case because it's too small for the nation in the first place. So it's not representative of the democracy that we need to expand the Supreme Court. And we need to think about that while we're voting, and we need to do what Malcolm said. Sometimes it's the lesser of the two evils. I'm not a Democrat either. I'm not a Republican. I am what they call an independent, if you understand what I mean. I have voted for Republicans. I have voted for Democrats. I vote for the people and the candidate that say he's going to do the most for this nation people. You know, that don't have a base. You know, all the people in this base, and he's trying to work this government for all the people. And I think Joe Biden has did a remarkable job with that. You know, it take age sometimes to get wisdom. And what he has led this nation with was wisdom. Wisdom that kept it together, that kept it going when he inherited an economy that had dropped because all businesses were closed. Even the church was closed. Even the church was closed during COVID. So the economy went bad. We're not saying that Donald Trump made the economy bad, but he didn't deal with COVID in a way that we was coming out of it. Now he want to cry about how many people died in the Biden administration. Of course, more people died in the Biden administration because he had messed it up. You know, talking about drinking bleach and demonized Dr. Fauci. You know, we need to really look at where we're at right now. I'm not saying that all the challenges to COVID was wrong, but I'm saying the way they went about it, handling it, was wrong, and it caused the death of too many Americans for us to forget that the chaos of the Trump administration didn't deal with COVID. They didn't deal with it, so the economy was in the ground, and he actually was, you better off now. Of course you are better off. We're not in a pandemic. The economy is growing. You got jobs out there for everybody. Now, just because we got jobs, we need to look at paying people. These billionaires, the same one that Trump is talking about that's supporting Trump, don't want to pay their workers a livable wage. And we need to start looking at that. You know, they got these billionaires, they sitting up there, and they're gonna support Trump because what? He gonna let them keep more of the money that they're making through tax breaks. And they're gonna let them keep not paying their workers a livable wage. That's what's gonna happen. It's not gonna get better under Trump, it's gonna get worse. There will be blood in the streets. Because one of the things that we are forgetting, we're not going to be able to tolerate what he is going to do. Or what he's going to try to do. He's setting people in place right now that's going to knock out major operations of federal government like they got on the state level in this country. Like we got a governor here in Atlanta, in the state of Georgia, there's a gun, it's sold out to the gun lobbyists. He ran on that stuff. And he has made all this violence in the community possible with that gun law that he passed, that he championed. We need to get this straight. We need to look at what's happening and why it's happening. And let me say this. There's so much unforgiveness in this country that is causing the violence to be what it is. We don't know how to forgive. And until we learn how to be forgiven, we're not going to be forgiven. This nation going to fall from internal corruption. Internal corruption. The church is no longer the church because it's going into politics. You know what the church want to do? They got people that want to take over the government and make it a Christian nation. Jesus gonna come back and do what he got to do about putting all these people together. We not finna make no nation, no Christian, no white nation, no Christian nation. We're gonna have this democracy where there's a separation of church and state, so that everybody can practice their religion the way God gave them the right to do. You know, he'll deal with all the hypocrisy that we're up against right now. But we are his arms and legs and eyes. But we have to stand up. We have to say enough is enough, and not get caught up in, you know, the privilege, being the privilege, and we not recognizing that Biden, the Democrats didn't cause inflation. They don't sell nothing. It's the merchants that's selling us the stuff that's price gouging. I go up and down Cleveland Avenue and all throughout Atlanta, I see different gas prices everywhere. Why? Because that's their freedom. They can charge what they want for their product. And we ain't got no government checks on that. And Trump ain't gonna put no government checks on it, really. And some of us don't want no checks on it because we got a little step ahead of the rest of us, and we okay with it because we think we're gonna be billionaires like Donald Trump. We think that some of his money gonna rub off on us. Like somebody told me, we might not even have that much money. Because, well, he's in trouble and he see a way out. The way out is to take over the government of these United States and privatize the tax money. Don't forget about that part. How many companies he already got? 500 companies? And still running bankruptcy? Listen, we need to think about what happened Thursday evening and look at it as it is. Biden is 82 years old. But his age is not what you saw on stage. It was his gasping. He's a stutterer. He was a stutterer. That didn't make him weak. It's one debate. The Democrats coming out, oh, we got to replace him. You know the process don't give you the room to replace him now. So why are you putting out that doubt in the community? O ye of little faith. Stand up for what you believe. Stand up for what you want this country to be. Do you want it to be a white nation or what it is now, which is a multiracial democracy, where all of God's people are coming together? And I think what a time it's going to be when we stop fighting each other. When we recognize we all get on one accord. The land of the free and the brave. Meaning that we're giving opportunities to everybody. Everybody got the same opportunities. You don't have the restriction on credit for business getting started that you got on credit for business getting started now. It's so rough that some people can't even start a business. And these people that got the business don't want to pay a living wage. We need to get up off of that. Get up off of that. Get up off of these credit issues in this country. Because all three of the credit bureaus come up with all kind of different things. They got bad information. Yet still, we let it run the way it is because what it is about against the minority people in this country. That credit issue need to be straightened out. You know, if you pay your bills, all these variables that they got in credit shouldn't even be there. all this stuff they put on your credit record, knowing that fraud take place. It shouldn't be there. And we got the courts where they're overwhelmed because we don't have enough judges, especially on the Supreme Court. They hear too few cases every year. And look like now, all the cases they hear are privileged cases. Privileged cases. How many cases Donald Trump got in the Supreme Court? You got people in prison with complaining about the same system. They can't get no action like that. Complaining about the same system, bogus indictments, bad searches. They need suppression of evidence. Oh, we'll tell them, you know, you had a fair trial. You ain't gonna get no perfect trial. Donald Trump got closest to a perfect trial as anybody could get in this country. But then he tears up the system. Oh, it was rigged. It's the Democrats going at him. What about his conduct? He was going at the country. He was committing crimes against this country. The laws of this country. And we forgot about that, and we just looking at what he said. He was committing crimes against this country. And he'd been convicted for some of those crimes, and probably would have been convicted of all of them if the Supreme Court and these courts wasn't helping him. They're helping him. Just be realistic about it. The cases that they're holding up should have been decided already. Could have been decided. But the court is too small because you don't have enough people on there that want to do it right. You only got a few on there that want to do it right now. You know, so we got to do some voting. The voting that we got to do up and down the Democratic line right now. Up and down the Democratic line. This is what we're talking about on Veterans Talk. Up and down, vote up and down. Get all those Republicans. You got the Speaker of the House, a hypocrite, calling himself a Christian and following an evil leader. He's going down with him. And we should take him down with the vote. This time. And it should be so overwhelming, they can't do nothing but stand in awe with the vote that's going to turn out in November. We should sweep them like they've never been swept before, because if we don't, the hypocrisy going to continue. But we ain't going to have the right to speak out after the election if we don't elect Joe Biden. We're not going to have the right to speak out. You say something against that Trump administration, you disappear. Because he's going to bring back in the kind of law enforcement that kill somebody and put a gun in their hand. I'm talking about Atlanta, Georgia now. At one time, we had a police chief that was promoting that kind of stuff. You kill them, put a gun, a knife in their hand, and say that they was, threatening you. With no body cams at that time. We got body cams now, so we're going to get a little bit more out of what we're trying to do. We need better trained police officers. I don't know why these people are protesting against the training center. We need that. We need better training. They need the opportunity to train better, because that brings more competent police officers into service. Get them trained. Give them a place to train. We don't need nobody standing up against that. That's crazy. And who are they? Why are they coming to Georgia to do it? This is something that the citizens of Georgia need to speak out against. We need to say, listen, you got a right to protest, you got a right to your opinion. But you're not going to come in and start blocking development. Multicultural, multiracial society. You got too many people in this mix right now that don't want that to be. And they will go for a dictatorship just to keep Kamala Harris out of the presidency. Yeah, they do that. That's the fear that they're working with right now. Those that talk about Biden age, that's what they trying to, listen to what they're talking about. understand what they're saying. The man age ain't got nothing to do with what their real concern is. They concerned that if something happened to him, Kamala Harris gonna be president. Woo, that's too much for some of these people to grasp. That's too much to see all of these talented people of color able to run government when they should be glad. They should honor that. They talk about the immigrants being a threat to this society. The immigrants, this is a whole nation of immigrants, except for black people. We're not immigrants. We were brought here under duress. We were slaves. The rest of them, immigrants. And the Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. They invaded America and took it over. I'm saying it, and look at the way they color history. They're trying to change history now. Why you want to restrict learning? So that you can keep the lies going about your superiority. We got to get away from that. And when black people got to be a little bit more forgiving with them. They, just forgive them. You can hate the sin but love the sinner. We got to do better than we're doing in the upcoming election. I'm talking to veterans now. Veteran families. Those people that really believe in the democracy. Those that have sacrificed for the democracy. And that service came not just in war, but in every military installation in this country. And for the first time in the history of the VA, Biden administration has expanded benefits, medical benefits. Really, I mean, one of the highest costs of household right now is medical care. A lot of people can't go to the doctor because they can't afford insurance. Because the folks that they're working for won't pay them a livable wage. So we need to look at this whole thing and understand why Trump is so strong. He's strong because, he got privilege. He got privilege. They didn't, I can't say they corrupted Clarence Thomas because he came on stage corrupt. Then Nita Baker, we'll never forget that. We'll never forget when he was being confirmed to serve on the Supreme Court. How scandalous his hearing was. And his conduct since then, he getting gifts he don't even report. So he's not a part of this system no more. He ain't got to pay taxes on that stuff. They get around it because they're privileged. And they get in these privileged positions, and all of a sudden, they don't want to give up. They got power now. And they will do anything to keep that power. Over us, over the democracy that we serve for. We pledge allegiance to the flag. Justice, equality. I knew that wasn't on reality when I was doing it, but I just believed that it was going to happen. And it's happening. It's actually happening. This country is growing to be a multicultural democracy where people are doing better than they ever done before. I was just watching the drafts the other night, basketball drafts. All these new young folks coming into this country, and a lot of them are immigrants, and then a lot of them are blacks, coming out of school, going into good professions that gonna give them a livable income. That's disturbing to a lot of folks because they think they should be entertainers for $1. They don't want to pay them, but the system has allowed it to happen, and it's a beautiful watch to see all these young people coming out of high school, going into college, coming out of college, going into $1 million income before they're 21. I represent a generation of young people that I want to talk about now, that I got all that out of my chest. The Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial. It is a call to unity for veterans and our communities. It's a call to unity. And we're calling these, you know, in Fulton County right now. We're just dealing with Fulton County. We hope that a lot of other counties will see what we're doing in Fulton County and follow suit. We are honoring the over 240 young men that were killed in the Vietnam War or during the Vietnam War era. Why are we saying during the Vietnam War era? Well, we were fighting racism. That was part of the war. And a lot of young black men died, not in Vietnam, but on military installation ships and air bases all across this nation, just because they were not white. We need to look at that. Because what we proved to the whole world during the Vietnam era and forward in the military, that we can all get along, we can all learn together, we can live together, and we can grow together in a way that nobody can deny it except Donald Trump say we're suckers. He say we're suckers. That's the only reason he's saying we're suckers, because it's a multiracial demonstration of how well we can do when we work together, when we live together, when we learn together, and when we serve together for a better nation. So we're saying that this memorial, which is about to be erected in Atlanta Historic Piedmont Park, is a call to unity. I want you to go to the website, sonsofatlanta.org, sonsofatlanta.org. Look at the faces. Look up under the 240 soldiers. I mean, look at the whole website, but I want you to look at these profiles, these pictures of these young men coming out of every neighborhood in Atlanta and the other 8 cities that had Vietnam War heroes, Every city. Look at the profiles. The vast majority of these young men didn't live to be 21 years old. That's the sacrifice that this community made for the democracies. But they made that sacrifice for this country, for this democracy. They didn't have all that static going on when they got in the military during the 60s. Why? In 1948, President Truman, chief of, he was the head of the president. He was the head of the military. He had a responsibility to rebuild the military, this U.S. military that was really devastated during World War II. And it was so devastated that during the Korea War, they had problems with people wanting to come in the military. So they had to do the draft. Unfortunately, they drafted people that were 18 and above. Now another wall. Look at it. Now another wall. They did that. Most of the people that fought in World War II was 25 or older. So they took the best and the brightest from this community to fight a war that they took 20 years to withdraw, to stop. Well, wait a minute. That's after 58,000 deaths, over 300,000 wounded, and I one of them. Wounded. I'm just by the grace of God. It wasn't. I'm on the wall in D.C. It's just by the grace of God. So I'm thinking that is a call to unity. It's a reason why we should come together. All of these communities, Hatesville, College Park, East Point, Union City, Alpharetta, all of these Fulton County cities right now, so that we gonna be recognized in Atlanta Historic Piedmont Park. But we're going further than just building a memorial to honor these young people. We're going into their communities and the community centers and libraries with tutorials educational equipment, and books written by Vietnam, about not just by Vietnam veterans, but written by military veterans. Those that have served in the military got something to say. And we need it in the libraries. We got resources for people that they don't know about because they got to search the government for it. We're going to put it in their community center. So all they got to do is come to the community center. And we're going to do it with an army of volunteers. Disabled veterans, like myself. I'm a disabled veteran. Yeah, I had a rough time when I first started out. Really rough time. But by the grace of God, He gave me the capacity to understand my PTSD. And I got severe PTSD. Severe PTSD. But by the grace of God and the church helped me reach a point where I could manage my condition. What you manage your condition? Yeah. Manage my condition. I understand that I got a condition. It's a bad behavior condition too. PTSD is a bad behavior condition. And if it's born in war, it's even worse than PTSD from a car accident or from you watching somebody be killed. Because in war PTSD, the drama is you got the feeling of kill or be killed. There is no between it. You're triggered, it's life or death. You have had so many veterans commit suicide because of that condition, this condition that they lost control and did something they couldn't even live with. PTSD. Now it's, we got a National PTSD Center that's helping military veterans especially. But you got to look deeper into the community to help other people with PTSD, because that's a condition that's causing a lot of the killings in our community. We need to wake up and look at what's going on so that we can deal with it properly as a community. It's a call to unity. We can stop all the gun violence as a community. The police can't do it by themselves. We cannot expect them to do it by themselves, especially when they got to go up against automatic weapons. Now that's crazy. Got the police. I bet you every police officer you stop today, they would tell you, I don't want them automatic weapons in the community. They don't want those automatic weapons in the community. This is what they're the first to be confronted with this stuff. All these kids with guns and no discipline. Most of them got guns, don't know how to use them, so they just killing innocent babies. And we act like we don't know what to do. We do know what to do. First of all, we got to get God back in the center of it. Get faith that we can overcome whatever we have let develop in our community. And I say what we have let develop. Brian Kemp wasn't at no thing when he was running for governor. He on TV with a gun, showing that that's what he's all about. If you live by the gun, you're gonna die by the gun. That's something that I'm not saying that that's something that's being said by somebody that know what the spirit of man is like. And we're gonna keep talking about it until we being about it. We're gonna keep talking about it every time we have come on this show. Because see, we're veterans, talking to veterans and the community about all things veterans and the community. Because we are a valuable asset in our community. And we should be. We serve to make the freedoms happen, maintain, that we enjoy in this country every day. Every day we have the freedom to talk back to the government, to petition the government, to start new businesses, to start new community service organizations. We have all these freedoms now. But if we don't save the democracy, we're not going to have these freedoms. We're going to be at the mercy of a dictator. that'll kill you in jail. Putin. It's a perfect example. His opposition, he put him, lock him up, and then kill him. Donald Trump is a Putin lover. He want to be like Putin. We need to wake up. The Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial is a call to unity for veterans and our communities, all of our communities, what all the communities we come from. See, my experience, in my generation experience, period, is that we went into the U.S. military out of segregated communities. Communities where everybody in my community looked like me. Everybody in my community looked like me. I didn't have, well, the stores, you know, where the stores in my community, they didn't look like me. But we live in segregation. We were living in segregation. Whether you was white, Hispanic, or black, you was living in your own community, dealing with just people that look like you. And we got the first day in the military, because we went in after the order was cast and it was solidified. In other words, 1948, Truman issued the executive order. It took him to 1954 to complete it because of the racism in the military. They was pushing back on the president. But he finally desegregated the last so-called color unit in 1954. That was the year we started sending people, advisors to Vietnam. We started sending advisors and people to try to, you know, help the South Vietnamese. You know, we said that. That's what we say we were doing. But you know, I'm still having problems with the way we fought the war, because I fought it. I was an infantryman in Vietnam, and I know that we went around in circles. We had some kind of conditions on us where we couldn't shoot until we were shot after. 58,000 my peers died. 240 plus were from my hometown. I want you to go to the website, sonsofAtlanta.org. Look at the profiles of these young people. And you look at it, it's not a black memorial, it's not a white memorial, it's a veteran memorial. You know, and you're going to see all of the races on that website that went to Vietnam and were killed out of these communities. So we got a common sacrifice that we need to honor. It's a common sacrifice that we need to honor. We gave the brightest and the best youths during that period. Oh, well, now after it all over, they'll say, well, they just got guys off the corner. BS. They didn't get no bunch of guys at the corner. I was working for the railroad. I was buying my own home. I had graduated from high school. So I wasn't on the corner, standing on the corner. And none of the people that I'm talking about were standing on the corner. They was drafted or they volunteered to serve this country. They make it what it is now. And I'm going to tell you something. Look at the U.S. military now. It is the most diverse, the best integrated part of our society. You got, it looks like a flower garden. White, black, Hispanic, Hindu, Arabs, people from everywhere. Every community serving this country. And they want the best for this country and its people. Don't let nobody tell you they're suckers for doing it. They're patrons of the highest order. Because when they take that pledge, when they go into the military, they know that they might go into war and not come back home. But they go anyway. They do it anyhow. And I'm going to tell you something. They did it with a spirit that they cannot kill. We would not go lay down easily. Vietnam veterans, Vietnam era veterans might not be the greatest generation, but I tell you what, they was the most progressive generation ever of veterans. Why? They changed the laws. They caused all this stuff to happen at VA have them during the Vietnam era or by Vietnam era veterans. Cause we was not gonna accept no, boy, you ain't got no disability cause you didn't come in. We changed the laws. We changed attitudes. We integrated the system. We integrated America. We led the integration of this country, and we did a great job doing it because, listen, some of us are brothers forever, and nobody, no government gonna change that because of our service experience. I'm talking about white and black, Hispanics and Arabs, all kind of people. We look at each other and say, brothers forever. Forever. Because we stood together for one idea, America and its people. Being a multi-cultural, multiracial democracy where you had justice and liberty for everybody with equal opportunities now. And as you see these opportunities manifest, you see the changes in the communities. The communities look better. Yeah, you're going to have issues like you got now. You got inflation because you got businesses that are greedy. Greedy. They just greedy. They're looking at their profit margin. They ain't thinking about nothing else. And we need government that's strong enough to regulate that when it get out of control. I'm for a free enterprise. But we don't need the big boy able to buy off the little boy opportunities. We need equal opportunities, and there's enough for everybody. You know, because it shouldn't be where you got some people got 8, 9 homes in America, 8 or 9 homes in different states, and then you got people living on the street. We got to have a compassion for each other. See, they done knocked out this basic principle what this nation started with under a Judeo-Christian influence, not government influence, where you cared for your neighbor. The Bible just say, love your neighbor as you love yourself. We don't do that now. We don't do that. We don't love our neighbor as we love ourselves. We don't want what our neighbor. We don't want for our neighbor what we want for ourselves. We'll step on our neighbor to get to the dollar. Sad to say. We'll step on them. Matter of fact, we'll go in their house and take their stuff when they ain't at home. We steal from each other. We kill each other. That's not the multicultural democracy that we serve for. And veterans need to come out and say it. We need to come out and say, listen, hey, wait a minute. We need you to act better. We need you to have more discipline with yourself. We need you to stop lack. And that's what we need to talk to these billionaires. You got enough money. You don't need to just keep building up money that you ain't going to spend, because you ain't going to live that long. You're not going to live long enough to spend all the money you got, and you can't take a ship in outer space and change that scenario. Every life got to end it. And it's how you live that life going to determine what kind of world you leave your children in. You want to leave your children in a world where they got to have walls around the house. You know, they got to have cameras everywhere because people gonna try to get to what they got because they done hogged up everything. And you got people out there with nothing. As long as you got that kind of scenario, you're gonna have crime. Remove lack, address the lack in communities, and watch the crime go down. People are not that wicked where they'll just go out and commit crimes because, and I'm saying that because I've been in a bad situation. But I lived among convicted felons because I was one. Still won. They ain't changed my thing. I ain't got no part. I ain't, you know, they still got it. But it didn't stop me from overcoming some of that. And I'm still overcoming. But the call to unity in our communities is real. And we're just so happy. I want to thank Marvin Arrington Jr. for his input and his support of the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial. And well, I can't even thank Michael Julian Bond enough. I can't even thank him enough because he have championed this memorial like it's his. And it is his. You know, it is his. And that's what we want the whole community to embrace it. It's your memorial. It's your collective sacrifice that we are honoring. The young men that came out of your community. And let me tell you something. They're still coming out your community. Every year we have graduation from high schools in our community. You got young people going into the military. Now let me start right there and say, let me salute my grandson. My grandson, Sergeant Freeman Harris. I salute you and all the young folks serving with you today, my brother. And I love you. And I'm going to tell you what, we're going to stand, we got your back too. We're going to stand up for you and try to make a better VA. Hope you don't need it like that, but if you need it, it's going to be there for you. And you ain't going to have all the rigmarole, the shortness that they got now. We're going to build it back better. Build it back better. That's what Biden said he's going to do. And he's trying to do it. The PAC Act right now has opened up all of these disabilities that a lot of people in the community don't know about. We filed our first one last week. The first one under the PAC Act that didn't know he had benefits coming. Let me just say this, and I'm gonna shout out to Earl right now. But Earl was just helping me. I got a hip replacement, so I'm on a cane, on a walker, and I'm at Family Dollar. In my community, this is my community, so I'm at Family Dollar. I'm struggling. This brother see me. He helped me put my stuff in my car. That wasn't on his job. That was his kind heart. That was the soldier heart. Then he'd get to the car. He said, well, I was in the military. I said, well, you getting your benefits? What benefits? I don't know nothing about no benefits. The brother got cancer. He was in Germany at an exposure point that Biden just called to be recognized under the PAC Act. It took a minute for us to get him signed up in VA.gov. And let me say this here. That's going to be a part of our mission, Tony and I, going forward, because we're going to start this crusade now for getting people signed up on VA.gov. Because the paper filing, they go round in circles. They just keep them going round and round in circles. They never get to the point where they got, very few of them, not never, but very few of them are getting to the point where they're getting exams and they're getting decisions that increase their benefit or recognize that they are disabled. So we working, but we can work better in a unified community. So that means we're getting the word out. We're getting more people to help do what we do. And it don't take a rocket scientist to do what we do. It's very simple. We just work till we get it done. We just work till we get it done. You know, we don't know everything. We learn a lot. We know that a lot of the people that's filing claims, they don't have enough medicals in their file to get a speedy decision. And if you ain't got no medicals, the VA look at, well, you ain't got no disability. You're not going to the doctor, not realizing that some of us can't afford to go to the doctor. Can't afford to go to the doctor. They start having things and they just ignore it, thinking they're going to go away. And sometimes it takes them away from their family, from their community. Because they really know that he was qualified to get a service-connected disability. But he's on the road to that now because of the PAC Act. Now, had the communities been really united, the way we want to get them united, somebody would have told Earl about his benefits long before he met me. long before he was trying to help an old soldier put his items in his car. But it was just that act of kindness that opened up a new door for this brother. And there are millions of veterans eligible for these new benefits that Biden has opened up. But because of, I don't know whether it's messenger or what is going on with them getting to know, but then you got a lot of people at the VA, top position in VA that came along when Trump was in office. So you know what their attitude is toward veterans. Think they're suckers, so they ain't trying to make sure that all veterans get equal opportunity to know that they got benefits and they gonna get these veterans their benefits. We don't have that kind of employee at the VA no more. They ran me off. No, they you know, that was a long time ago. We got some good employees at VA. Gonna always have some good people at VA, always, because a lot of people go to work at VA because they want to serve veterans. I wish all of them were like that. And I think we keep working at it, it will be like that. And someday, and that way you veterans won't be frustrated and denied benefits when they should be getting them. So I want you to think about this. The Sons of Atlanta.org is about to happen thanks to Michael Julian Barnes. We're about to build a memorial in Piedmont Park that honors this generation of veterans and every generation going forward. Because we're not just setting up, well, we plant a seed. Because we want the community to really understand how this works and what we can do to make it work better. It works better when we are a unified community than when we are, you know, we don't want we don't want for our neighbor what we want for ourselves. Once we get to that point, then we're going to see progress around us that we never seen before. Because we are the richest nation on planet Earth. So there shouldn't be no homeless nowhere. And we don't have to have that. We can change the landscape of Atlanta tomorrow if we can just get all the players together. They got barracks at Fort McPherson right now. They got enough barracks at Fort McPherson that's sitting there. You know, probably we still got bunks in them. I know they still got, you know, the mess hall, the kitchens. They got everything that they need. They can take all these people out of the streets, put them at Fort McPherson, and work them through the system. Get them up where they can go. Some of the people can go back to work. Some of them you got to put on disability because they're sick. But you can take all of them out of homelessness. The Bible tells us that the poor will always be among us, but they didn't say they needed to be homeless, or they had to be on drugs, or they had to be left in the streets, you know. And we didn't, you know, that's the problem. That's a real problem in our community here in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank the mayor. I love this mayor, Mayor Dickerson. I want to salute you, brother, for addressing this issue. But you know, I need your help. Get the rest of these players in Fulton County together so that we can get this stuff in Fulton. It's not, don't mean that they're gonna stay out there on the base forever. I'm guarantee you, if we could get the use of those buildings, 3 years from now, all the people that are homeless will be fitted back into productive lifestyles in this city, in this area. All we need is just 3 years on Fort McPherson. I'm not just talking about veterans, I'm talking about the whole homeless crew. Everybody that's homeless, come on, get off there. Come on, let's work with your problems. Let's see what you're working with so that we can help you get your life back on track. And you can't tell me you can't get a life back on track because I got my life back on track. So you can't tell me it can't be done. It can be done with the church and the government working together. Not the church trying to take over the government so they can have a white nation or a segregated nation. We don't need nobody trying to take over the government to go back. Talking about make America great again. America wasn't great when it was doing that. It was at its lowest points Now it's great because it's growing. And we don't need to be ashamed of it. And we don't need to be listening to anybody that says it's a bad thing. Those in the military know. Look at them. Go on the military bases. See how well these young people work together, live together, and learn together, and serve together for the freedoms that we still enjoying today. We got walls and rumors of walls. So we need some leadership. We need some leadership that cares about people, not just some people. Because the leadership that might develop if we don't be careful in November, gonna destroy the nation. You're gonna destroy the nation. All these freedoms, all this good stuff that we see going on, it's gonna destroy all of that. Why? Because a lot of us are not gonna be able to put up with what he's gonna be doing. We're just not gonna be able to tolerate it. So there's gonna be blood in the streets. He said gonna be blood in the streets if he don't get elected. That's offensive to me. And it should be offensive to everybody because it's a threat. That if I lose, I'm at you. Well, man, please lose. You know, we're going to make, I'm working, everybody that feel like me working, to make sure you lose. And all of those people that you think that's going to face the gun for you, let them come on with that. Let them do that. You know, if they're going to be so gullible that they're going to go to jail or die for you, well, we can't stop them from feeling like that. But they're not going to take over the government. They're not going to be threatening people at the poll. Matter of fact, I'm tired of listening to people threatening the government employees, threatening the judge and prosecutors. This is our system. If I had to start threatening the judge when I was going through what I was going through, they would have gave me another charge. And that's what they need to do to these people. You don't threaten. There ain't no politics like that in America. You don't be threatening judges and prosecutors just because they doing their job. That's what we got them in place for. If you don't like the way they operate, vote to make sure your voice is heard in a constructive way. Tell us what you want. As long as it ain't a destruction of this democracy, I think we could work together. I know we can work together. All of us can work together for a better community. And it's going to take all of us to work together for a better community. The Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial is a call to unity for our communities, for veterans in our communities. You know, to do what we started doing when we were in military service, to build this democracy, to make sure that everybody had equal opportunity no matter what the color of their skin or what ethnic group they came from. You know, it feels good when you can see this democracy growing, because I can see it growing from where I came into the picture with it. I was living in a segregated community. Now I live in a community that's very mixed. Very mixed. And parts of that community, neighbors get along well with each other. You know, we know each other. We want for each other what we want for ourselves. So that means we're not iron them out to take this stuff, to take advantage of them when they ain't looking. Veterans Talk. Next week we'll be back with Tony. You won't have to hit where I'm going to preach sometime. And I'm going to preach in a few minutes. I'm going to a tent revival over here on Empire Boulevard, you know, to talk to people about this call to unity. You know, and I'm talking to the church. I'm talking to the people that's ready to do it. I'm ready. I think the community is ready if they hear the message. And the message is, you know, we can all get along. We can all get along. We can have a better society if we try. We put some effort in it. And it don't take much. It just takes being honest with yourself. Do you feel better in a non-violent society than a violent society? Which one you feel better? We got a very violent society right now, and it is not because of immigrants. It's because of all of us. We're not standing up to do things that cut it out, to stop it. And that's what we're saying. Go to the sonsofAtlanta.org, Sons of Atlanta, and we're a non-profit. You know, if you want to donate. See you next week. Thank you. Veterans Talk.